texts and creating a dictionary and creating curriculum materials and age-appropriate curriculum materials and coming up with things like games and all kinds of activities for children.
One of the activities the kids play in the Wampanoag language is the card game Uno.
I think playing the games in the language is a way of getting them to want to learn it and want to know, what's the next thing,
This is linguist in residence Eleanor Coombs.
As a teacher, it's my responsibility to kind of just keep enforcing it and just letting them hear it, And it's been quite a journey up with Paul.
Coombs says she wants the kids to be proud of learning and speaking their native language.
When we talk about any culture, language is the first part or foundation of a culture. I want them to be proud of learning to speak their language. Not only just learning it, but just speaking it on a regular basis, just like we do English.
Before this program started, Wampanoag was considered a sleeping language, but now it's waking up. For the world, I'm Shondine Silversmith. Finally today, it's almost 2017. If you're hankering for some new adventures in the new year, why not discover the roots of life, follow your heart, or come to where it all started? Those are actual travel slogans for the nations of Moldova, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Mozambique. We spotted them on a map that's bouncing around the internet, featuring official tourism slogans from around the globe. So, to let the journey begin, thank you, Myanmar, I've got Simon Calder on the line. He's the travel editor for the independent newspaper in Britain. And Simon, I understand you're in Slovenia at the moment, which has its own slogan.
And possibly, I must say, Jeff, the worst I've come across anywhere, because it simply doesn't work when you say it. I feel Slovenia. The idea is that the love of Slovenia.
Oh, that really doesn't work.
It doesn't work, but frankly, looking at the collection of slogans around the world, most countries would be better off without them.
Yes, some more puns, I gather. Morocco's slogan is much more, M-O-R, get it?
Yes, there's a lot of cases in which the country has decided that there is not much to say, and therefore they haven't said anything of any meaning. Here we have Bolivia. Bolivia awaits you. Yeah? Well, tell me more. What's going to happen? Malta, truly Mediterranean. Yes, it's an island in the Mediterranean. I expect it is truly Mediterranean. And Jordan just goes for, yes, it's Jordan.
You can discern a bit of a country's worldview from its slogan, I would say. For example, Iran, you are invited, and Turkey, be our guest. Both places where hospitality is a big deal.
Yes, I like the idea of Chile, all are welcome. That's good, but that sort of takes us on to slogans which are demonstrably untrue, of which the biggest offender, and they've changed the slogan now, was Colombia. The only danger is not wanting to leave. Well, no. I could give you a list of a great number of dangers from the US State Department about the various dangers that await you in that wonderful country. But on the other hand, Britain is great. We have a case like this because we're feeling insecure. That's oddly
Estonia, epic Estonia. I like that one.
Yeah, Russia is epic. The US is epic.
You're so right.
Egypt
You're so right.
Estonia is a lovely little place that you should certainly visit. That's the vintage slogan. I wish I was in Finland. And just away from Denmark, the happiest place on earth. No doubt they do on quality of life survey against that. But I tell you what, I don't really entirely think about this because having a good slogan can do wonders for a place. New Zealand, 100% clear. That has been shown to work very, very good. And if I can go from a national to a state level, Florida, the Sunshine State, says it's favorite.
I'm going to put you out of your misery. What's your favorite?
I think usually their happiness finds you, actually. It's just all happiness will find you. That, I think, is quite touching and interesting.
Simon Calder, travel editor at the independent newspaper in the UK. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And that's all from us today from the Dan and Bill Harris studios at WGBH in Boston. I'm Jeff Sharp. Thanks for tuning in.
watching bulls and Doug isn't in his
celebrating
pasture.
35 years as Charlotte's NPR
He
news
just like
source.
walks
And
around.
support this afternoon comes from WFAE members and
But I mean, it's not like he's
culture
gonna
and
go
heritage
anywhere.
museums, presenting
Like, I
folk
still
and
have no
bluegrass
idea. Like, I was
singer-songwriter
just laying
Sierra.
down on Tuesday.
January 7th at the
That was
McKelvey
asking, she's
Center.
like, why is that
Tickets
horse
at
just walking around? Is nobody like concerned about that? And I was just like, he won't go
South
nowhere.
Carolina is just right.
I
I'm Mark
still have
Collins,
no
given
idea
the rising
why.
stock market and interest rates. Will it be a good year for the economy or for you? Well, look into our financial crystal ball in 2017 when Charlotte talks and all will know on WFAE and WFAE.org.
And you can get programming news, event announcements, and a behind-the-scenes look at Charlotte's NPR news source. Sign up for our newsletter online at WFAE.org. All Things Considered is next.
The United States has announced sanctions against Russian individuals and institutions it blames for hacking the election. The targets include intelligence services, officers, and companies. It's Thursday, December 29th, and this is All Things Considered from NPR News. I'm Robin C. and I'm Ari Shapiro. Coming up, what effects the new sanctions might have. And these stories, why the Justice Department has so much trouble counting hate crimes.
Behind the pages of the reports lie communities who are now more afraid than any American should ever feel.
Also, Ed Welburn, who helps shape the world we live in when we drive.
It feels good when I sit in traffic and I see a family in one of the cars that I designed. That's all I need. I feel good about that.
He was GM's top designer. And remembering the late Justice Antonin Scalia. First, this news.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Mr. Johnston. The Obama administration is hitting back against Russia for what it calls malicious cyber activity. The White House today announced that it's imposing sanctions against 2 Russian spy agencies and expelling 35 Russian intelligence operatives out of the United States. NPR's Mary Louise Kelly has more.
The new sanctions target Russia's domestic security agency, the FSB, and the GRU, that's Russian military intelligence. Also, 4 senior officers in the GRU and 3 companies believed to have supported the agency. Meanwhile, the State Department is shutting down 2 compounds, one in Maryland, one in New York, that the Obama administration says Russia has used for intelligence purposes. These are sweeping moves, and there may be more to come. In a statement, President Obama writes, quote, "We will continue to take a variety of actions at a time and place of our choosing, some of which will not be publicized." Mary Louise Kelly, NPR News, Washington.
Attorneys General in more than a dozen states are warning legal action if the next administration tries to scrap President Obama's signature climate policy. NPR Jennifer Ludden reports the move comes as other attorneys general urge President-elect Donald Trump to dismantle the Clean Power Plan.
2 weeks ago, attorneys general from mostly conservative states wrote to the Trump team saying the Clean Power Plan is unlawful. They suggest an executive order to rescind it on day 1. They also want Trump to settle or suspend a court case over the policy. Attorneys general from mostly liberal states say they'd oppose those moves. In a letter, they say the court case could play out, and they warn that an executive order to scrap the climate plan would not stand up in court. The Clean Power Plan calls on states to reduce carbon emissions. 2 dozen states have sued over it, and the appeals court ruling on the case could come at any time. Jennifer Ludden, NPR News, Washington.
A nationwide ceasefire in Syria is set to go into effect at midnight local time. The Russian-Turkey brokered agreement includes all parts of Syria, including the eastern suburbs of the capital, Damascus. David Schenker is a Middle East expert at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy. He says while the ceasefire is good news for the war-torn country, it won't take much for it to fall apart.
We'll see how much the Russians, the Assad regime, actually wants it. Much of this, to my mind, depends on whether the Syrian regime will look to press their advantage now.
If the ceasefire holds, it will most likely lead to talks between the Syrian government and the opposition to be held in the former Soviet Republic of Kazakhstan. At last check on Wall Street, the Dow was down 13 points at 19,819. The Nasdaq down 6 points. The S&P down a fraction. You're listening to NPR News in Washington.
I'm Michael Tomzik, 90.7 WFAE News. A federal judge
judge has ordered another competency exam for Charleston church shooter Dylan Roof. Roof faces the death penalty for killing 9 African Americans inside Emmanuel AME Church last year. The judge ordered another evaluation of Roof today, quote, in an abundance of caution, but the judge said he finds no reason to delay or cancel the trial's sentencing phase next week. Roof, a white supremacist, intends to represent himself during that phase. A jury found Roof guilty earlier this month of all charges related to the shootings, including murder and hate crimes.
Playing with
The judge's order says Roof will be evaluated over the weekend at the Charleston County Jail. The judge says he will rule on Roof's competency Monday following a hearing. He's again considering closing the hearing, as he has before, over the prosecution's objections.
Had to drop it to 720p.
Keiko USA is expanding its factory in Lincoln. The German-based company will hire 100 more workers and invest more than $8 million in the facility, which is about an hour northwest of Charlotte. Keiko USA makes high-precision sealing solutions for the automotive industry. The company will get state incentives of up to $100,000 if it meets its job creation and investment targets. Charlotte is losing another conference because of a controversial state law affecting the LGBT community. Organizers of the Business History Conference will move their April 2018 event to Baltimore. A conference leader tells local media the event is expected to bring 350 guests and more than $100,000 in spending. Organizers say they're moving it out of Charlotte because of House